The ground meat is the most purchased meat. I don't know if you knew that. And most beef is actually sold as ground or minced meat. So ground meat has a lot of connective tissue. Hence, it is actually super nutritious, more nutritious than, for example, a steak. And ground meat is cheap. And if you add a little bit of effort to it, you can turn it into some really, really fancy dishes like my meatballs, Spanish style meatballs. And you could easily serve them for a fancy dinner party or so. I mean, meatballs for me also equal, saving money, and that's exactly what everyone wants to have in a sort of current environment. So here we go. Meatballs, like a Michelin star chef would cook it. We want to make that a complete meal, so we can add some potatoes to it, and I'd rather steam them than boil them. Then we're going to make some red capsicum salsa or some romesco sauce, and for that you take some really ripe red capsicums and you cut them off the core. Sometimes those white membranes, if they're a little bit green, you have to take them out because they can be quite bitter. So are the seeds, so remove that. Some garlic, and then just crush the garlic, and it's a really nice sauce. It lasts you for several weeks in the fridge. I like it on meatball. You can also serve them as a dip. So heat a pan, and to that you then basically just add some olive oil, and loads of olive oil, and then you add the garlic, and then you add the capsicums, and then you start roasting that on a medium to low heat. You can also do that in the oven. I just do it on the stove top. It's not worth switching on the oven. And then I roast that for approximately 10 to 15 minutes until the capsicums are really nice and soft. So in between I'm gonna make my mincemeat. So just crush some garlic and then chop it like you see me doing here. I'm not a big fan of garlic crushers. You need to find those things, then you put them in the dishwasher. Everything stinks after garlic. Chop some onion too, and you can learn a lot about that in my knife skill courses. There's no point of making any of the diagonal cuts into the onion. It's just really chop them finely. Of course, you could do that with a big knife too, if a bit more chefy, but that requires a few bigger knife skills. And here we go. So, cut the onion. And then the next thing is, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that all in a bowl. And I make my minced meatballs today with lamb because that's a bit more sort of Spanish style. And add the meat to it. You can of course use beef, you could use pork, you could use a mixture of it. And to that I add some smoked paprika and some eggs. And now I'm gonna reveal you an absolutely amazing mincemeat secret. The secret that makes meatballs light, fluffy, and juicy. It's called panade. Now, what's that? Well, it's a mixture of starch, and in my case, it's bread and liquid. It could also be breadcrumbs and moisture like milk or water. In Asian cooking, they often add a bit of rice flour and rice wine to the mincemeat. And then they mix it through the mincemeat, and the panade will keep your meatballs or your meatloaf or your dumpling fillings fluffy and tender. So the way it goes is that when meat is ground through the mincer, the fibers are broken, and so is the connective tissue, and that makes the meat more sticky. And when it's then cooked, it can become unpleasantly dry and grainy because mincemeat struggles to hold the juices, and that's why meatballs, when well done, or burgers, when well done, are always dry, boring, and even rubbery. That has a lot to do with the juices escaping quicker than, for example, in unprocessed meat. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when you barbecue some burgers, they let much more steam go than, for example, when cooking a steak or other meats, because in mincemeat the water can escape much quicker as it is not bound up in the meat fibers any longer, and you need panade to avoid exactly that. Panade lard with its moisture brings moisture back into the meat. And the other much more important thing is that the starch from the bread forms a gel between the meat morsels and it isolates them from each other, where the proteins struggle to reconnect and cannot fuse again. And through that, the meatballs, instead of being dry, hard and rubbery, end up being light and fluffy and juicy because you stop the meat proteins from interconnecting again. The starch also congeals and it swells during cooking, and it so lubricates the spaces between the meat morsels, while at the same time the starch also soaks up all the juices so the meat doesn't get dry. I mean, really, it is a win-win if you ask me. Now, how much bread should you add? Well, that really depends on who comes around. I mean, and how much money you want to spend on them. No, it's a joking. There is a recipe in the link below, and also check out my online courses. Anyway, it's not the answer to all mincemeat issues and questions, and I will go deeper into that in another video. So stay tuned where I explain you nicing and how you develop that and how it works. So, my panade I make today with some white loaf and some water. You could, of course, use milk as well. While that soaks, I'm gonna chop some capers. I always prefer capers in salt because the salt can also season your food, and capers in vinegar are basically just capers in food acid, and that can be really overpowering and pretty horrible in a dish like that today. So I chop some rosemary as well. Now when you chop your herbs, don't chop them too fine because otherwise they oxidize. Add some thyme to it as well, but it's really up to you what herbs you add into your meatballs. And the next thing I'm gonna add some cumin as well, and I always grind my spices fresh. I have a video on my channel about that too, where you can learn that. And then I add that to it as well. So it's actually quite a few North African flavors I put in there, but Spain was occupied by the Moors for almost 1,000 years. So a lot of those North African flavors went into Spain. That's why I often find them sort of payas and stuff like that, tasting a bit Middle Eastern. Add some coriander seeds as well, pepper and salt. And then I get my panade, which means I just squeeze out as much water as I can. The way quite a bit of water can stay in there, it will just moisturize the meat even better. And then it goes into the meat and then just mush it all up. It needs to really get between all those meat fibers, so you need to knead it really well. So spend a bit of time on that. And here we go. That's my mince meat or meatballs, meatloaf. It's pretty amazing. So when you make those balls, you just really need to make sure to squeeze out all the air and you really sort of fuse them together. So press them quite hard and get some really nice meatballs going. And here we go. There is a whole heap of meatballs ready for you, and we're ready to go and cook. So that dish, of course, is absolutely amazing for pre-cooking too. So checking my potatoes, I just make sure that the knife has all the same resistance all the way through. So it doesn't matter if it falls off or not. It depends on if it's a starchy potato or firm fleshed potato. And check out my video on mashed potatoes to learn all about that. And once the potatoes are fully cooked, just cut them into wedges or cut them into halves. Get a pan on and some oil in there, and I'm gonna fry my potatoes off now to get them really nice and crunchy and crispy before I cook them with the meatballs, where they then also get some amazing flavors in there. Add some garlic to it as well. So see, my potatoes got a really nice color now. That's absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna take them out and then I rearrange them between the meatballs in a minute. It looks just amazing, doesn't it? Oh, and it smells pretty good too. So in the pan, meatballs going. You could, of course, cook it just on the stovetop if you can't be bothered to switch your oven on. You just will put the lid on it. I'm gonna put it all in the oven. So potatoes go on it. I put my garlic back onto it. I add a bit of rosemary, and that's mainly just for garnish, because I want to make it look really pretty. And then it goes into the oven, and there they cook at 220 degrees and 440 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. So in between I'm gonna make a bit of extra garnish. I just get some zucchini and I basically cut them with a mandolin. With a mandolin you have to go really low, but you can see I show what I do with a knife here. If I touch the knife really slowly, I don't cut myself. If I hack into it, I cut myself. Most people, when they use a mandolin, they go by far too fast and then they cut themselves. So when you cut with a mandolin and you don't have a guard like I do, you have to go over the blade really, really slowly. So let's look at my capsicum salsa. It's roasting pretty well. In goes some tomatoes, some almonds, some smoked paprika, and then I blend that all up with a little bit more olive oil, and that's your romesco, or like a Spanish capsicum salsa, and it's pretty amazing. It's one of the nicest things you can have, and you can serve that with fish, you can serve that with chicken, you can even freeze it down. So here we go. Now cook off my zucchini, a little bit of olive oil. So remember, next time you use a mandolin, you go with the blade really slowly. So I just cook the zucchini just on one side, a bit of salt, pepper, just like for literally 20 or 30 seconds. So they're still a bit chewy. I don't want them to be too soft. So they cook pretty fast. So they're like sort of half cooked. And here go my meatballs. Take them out, and now I'm just gonna sort of rearrange them all. And they look amazing as they are now, but I want to make it much, much, much prettier. So what we're gonna do for that is basically get a new pan and rearrange them all in a new pan, but that's really just a bit of an overkill I'm doing here today. So into the pan goes my meatballs, on the top goes the roast capsicum salsa now, or the sauce romesco, and it's just really coat each meatball with that sauce so it looks absolutely delicious. And then I arrange the potatoes in between, then I arrange the zucchinis in between, so you can see it gets really colorful. It's getting fancier and fancier by the minute. I roasted also some vine tomatoes, which I just put into the oven at the same time as the meatballs. I add some olives. You can of course use sun-dried tomatoes. On go my garlic, and then I'm gonna add some parsley leaves, the rosemary, let's not forget that too. Just some really nice parsley leaves, and here we go. These are my Spanish style meatballs. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not exactly completely myself today. Something happened today, and I'm really struggling with that. Do you want me to share? Okay. Well, this morning I did my meditation in the front room, to enlighten myself. When suddenly a rubbish truck rolled up outside of our house. Now those two guys, they were swearing and cursing or whatever there was going on. I don't know. All I know, it was horrible. It totally f***ed up all my chakras from the top to the bottom and all the way around. The whole day I wasn't myself. So there I am, unenlightened. Still f***ed up completely. I think I might just have a glass of wine or two, because that always seems to get my chakras back into balance again. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and check out my video on salting steaks to learn more about me cooking, and you have a great day.